practicing elemental magic. Hey everybody, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Amy. I'm a witch, and on this channel we talk about witchcraft, spirituality, law of attraction, and stuff. Today I want to talk about some of the most basic ways you can practice elemental magic with your element without needing any tools. So this really goes back to the basics of witchcraft. However, it's also an energy practice and is something that you can do day one, and it's something that you can do 30 years into your journey. I don't think this is something that ever really stops being a good thing to practice, and I certainly haven't stopped. So let's get into it, shall we? First of all, if you don't know what your element is, or you're curious to find your element, I have a video about that. Check it out. I'm going to put the link somewhere. And if you do already know what your element is, or you're practicing with all of them, then we're just going to get right into it. Okay, so this does kind of go back to one of my first videos, which was really cringy, but it's still up if you want to watch it. That the idea is that you want to summon energy and then fill it with your elemental power. So what I would do when I was first practicing, I'm a shadow witch, and so I would sit under a tree or in the shadows, or I'd walk around downtown, and I would sort of summon shadow energy in one of my hands. It was the right one because that's my dominant hand, and I couldn't at that point summon energy in my left hand. And I would just sort of focus on opening my hand chakra and summoning the energy into it, imagining that it is like full of the shadow element and swirling into like sort of a ball or a bit of a flame thing. The ball was, it took a minute to perfect having it be like a ball shape. Think like Avatar: The Last Airbender. I hope you've seen that. If not, it's super awesome. So I would focus really hard on opening my hand chakra, and I'd summon energy into the palm of my hand, and I'd be walking along really focusing on it, and then I'd walk out of the shadow of whatever building I was walking by, and the sun would hit my hand, and it would just go away like that. And like my chakra would be closed, and the energy would be gone, and the shadow energy would be gone, and I'd be like, what is going on? So I'm telling you that story because it can be really difficult at first. It won't necessarily be difficult, but if it feels like you can't summon it, or you can't hold it in your hand, or you can't change the shape or do what you want with it, then just keep at it. So what I want you to do is I want you to start by sitting somewhere you're comfortable, or standing somewhere you're comfortable, and focus on opening the chakra in the hand that is your dominant hand. See, mine's opening right now. It's your dominant hand. And then I want you to focus on energy pooling in your hand. Once you've got that, I want you to focus on forming it into like a ball and filling it with your element, whatever your element is. Then I want you to just focus on it, like watch it move around a little bit, play with it. Try moving the ball of energy from one hand to the next hand. Hold it for a bit, see how it feels, see if it stays. For me, when I do that, then the hand that I just transferred from, the chakra tends to shut down a bit, and you can really feel the energy transferring to the other hand. So you can't see it on the camera, but I have a bit of a pool of energy in my hand right now. And when I transfer it from this hand, then back to this hand, you can feel it lighting up your chakra. If you transfer from one hand to the other and nothing happens, or you feel it dissipate, or it just goes away, it's fine. Just take a deep breath, start over, start from the beginning, and work on building that energy up in your dominant hand again. Now, once you have this and you're comfortable with it, you can move it back and forth from one hand to the other. Try passing your energy from one person to another. You can sit crisscross applesauce on the floor like you're going to play patty cake, and pass the elemental energy from your hand to the other person's hand. Now, I want to give you a warning. If you and the other person are both practicing elemental magic and you know for sure that you have one dominant element and they do not match very well, like say your fire and the other person's water, then you might want to try this without charging your energy with your element, just to be safe. It's up to you, but that's just what I would suggest, at least at first. It can be very difficult not to absorb another person's energy when they're putting it in your hand or near your body. And if it's an element that you don't mix well with or you don't work with, it can be very disruptive, can cause sickness and headaches and things like that. So once you're comfortable passing it from one hand to the other, passing it back and forth between two people, then you can work on throwing it. You can make a target or pick a target. You can just work on like using like a wall or a shrub or a candle or something like that, so that you have some idea of distance, target. And then what you want to do is you want to summon the energy into your hand, turn it into, focus on turning it into a ball, infuse it with your element, and then toss it at your target. You want to feel it disconnect. This can be very difficult at first. You want to feel it disconnect and you want to feel it go where it's going. And it can be a while before you get to the point where you actually can see or sense your energy going toward the thing that you're sending it to. But this can be really, really, really helpful with invocations. It can be helpful with defensive magic, it can be helpful with offensive magic, and it can be really, really, really useful when you're working with energy spells. So this is a really good practice even if you're not doing elemental magic, but it's how I learned to control my element, or I don't know if that's the right word. This is how I learned to work harmoniously with my element. If you're a shadow element, for example, you will be able to create pools of darkness where there's light. You might be able to make other shadows grow. You can summon like shadow minions and things to sort of follow you around or guard and protect you. And you can even use them to like sort of play lookout in another room or another area, or use them to astral project, which is pretty fun. It's a lot of fun. And this is where it starts. I know it seems really basic and a little bit weird, especially if you're not a very visual person or you feel like you should be seeing something and you're not seeing it. But it is it's a really powerful practice, and I highly recommend you try it. Please let me know if you do, and if you have any trouble with it, or if there's anything that you'd like to add, you want to help anybody out in the comments and like let them know the different things that you tried. Let me know which element you charged your energy with. I'm really excited about sharing this with you guys because, well, when I learned it, it was considered like secret information. Let me know if you guys ever want to hear my why I'm a witch story, because it's kind of crazy. But yeah, it was very not mainstream practice, and I actually don't know how many people practice this with their energy or with their elements. As far as I know, a lot of people will work with their physical elements, like, a plant or a candle or smoke or a bowl of water, something like that. But it is important to understand that if you identify with an element, you have that power, you have access to that element, that power, no matter where you are, whether you have it physically next to you or not. It's nice to be in the element, it's nice to stand in the breeze or to put your feet in the water, to recharge and to connect, but you don't necessarily have to have that in order to be an effective elemental witch. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this, because elemental magic is something that I really care about, but also it's a lot more accessible than people might think. And I'm excited for people to start practicing this. So please let me know if you do and how it goes. And if you want a little bit more of an in-depth tutorial on it, I wrote a mini magical manual, a tiny ebook about invocations, which can be used with elemental magic and also with defensive magic. So I typed it all up and I put it in a little book so that You have a quick trigger to bring your element to the surface, and also some other things for like shielding and keeping energy vampires away and stuff like that. If you want it for free, there's a link in the description box down below. Otherwise, you can get it on my website, amymelaine.com. I did this because it's something I'm excited about sharing, but also a couple of you asked me to do it, so here it is. Thank you so much for being here. If you've made it all the way through this video, I absolutely love you. Check out my Instagram, support me on Patreon, and I hope you have a blessed and beautiful day.